Hello Bravepipers, we have a new video today. This is about transitioning from your low hand, which should be your right hand usually, and going to your upper hand, which should be your left hand usually. And we're going to look specifically at going from the note D, which is pinky down and your other three fingers up, and moving to the first of the upper hand notes, which is E. So we're going to need the same equipment as usual today. We need a napkin or a scrap of fabric, we need our chanter, and we also need our reed. We're going to start on D, which means that your index, middle, and your right ring finger are up and your pinky is down, covering the lower hole A, just like this. There's your D note. We should be familiar with this if you're doing the warm-ups and if you've seen the other videos. And then we're going to transition so that our left ring finger is up and our right pinky is up. This is a mechanically complex transition, so you need to be very careful as you do it, and it's going to take a lot of practice so that you can avoid what we call transition noises. I'll explain those in a second. But overall, the whole movement looks like this. That's it. So I set my three fingers down, and I pick two up. I trade 3 for 2. Okay? Going step by step, I'm going to close these three fingers down, which would normally make a low G, and I'm going to pick these 2 up. One more time, I close these 3 down and I pick these 2 up. And the goal is to do this simultaneously so that you don't hear a low G at all, and you also don't hear this E come in too early. It's tough. So, low, or your regular D. Slower. D. I'm going to drop it down. It's going to sound goofy, but that's okay. We're going to drop down D. You're going to hear the low G, and then we're going to pick these fingers up because we're practicing just the mechanical motion first, and then we'll go back and we'll try to perfect it to get it just as quick as we need it to go. So D, G for just a second here, E. And remember to lift your pinky up. Now you may notice that I've got some other pinky action going on in here, and that's because it wants to come up when my ring finger comes up. You could try to train your pinky to stay down if you want, or you could try to train your pinky to always stay up. I've found that a little bit more flexibility with the finger tends not to tire my hands out as much. Excuse me. So, just like that. So as you're practicing, what we don't want to hear is this. We want to get that to the point where it's simultaneous. That little ba-doop, that noise, that low bubble in the middle, that is a transition noise, which I mentioned earlier. That's why it's really important to practice this transition slowly. In the middle of a song, if you have a random drop down to a G, it's not going to be played in the appropriate place, and you're not going to like that sound. So as you finger walk this is one of those movements that I really recommend that you finger walk until you can make this motion without even thinking about it. And when you play it, there's absolutely no confusion in the notes, no low G's at all. When you finger walk this, you can do it with a pencil, you can just do it on the table. I do it on my steering wheel sometimes when I'm driving. Don't recommend doing that though, because odds are you're probably not of driving age. You could do it with your practice chanter without playing while watching TV or watching a YouTube video or anything like that. Just keep trying to get this into a simultaneous movement. Ring finger, pinky up, and your other 3 fingers down to get to your E. Otherwise your 3 fingers are up. Okay? That will transition you from the lower hand to the upper hand. And that is what we are practicing today. So one more time, I want you to play along with me. Get your fingers into your D, these 3 guys up, your pinky down and firmly over that low A hole. If you can make the transition from your low hand to your upper hand with no issues at all, then you've come a really long way in learning the scale, but also preparing yourself to learn tunes. Because many tunes go from D to E. In fact, the very first tune that you will learn, if you're working with any of the tutor books, is Scots Wha Hae, and that is at the very end of the first staff. You do a D throw, which we're almost ready to learn, and then you immediately transition into a bunch of upper hand notes. That part won't sound right if you can't do your D to E transition smoothly. So keep practicing. Really take your time with this particular transition, and you will be on your way to being a piper much sooner.